Hello everybody, welcome to LAB and my video all about assessment days. Before I jump into assessment days though, I do have some big news, which is that I have been nominated for the Legal Awards, the Innovation Award this year, which I'm so excited about, and it's for the vlog. So it's thanks to all of you guys that I have been selected to be on the short list. So it's down to 5 of us now for the Legal Awards, which take place at the beginning of March. So thank you so much for subscribing and interacting and all of your comments, because it's all of that that's led to me being shortlisted, and I am so grateful to you. I will keep you posted on how it goes. So moving on then to assessment days. And I always say I'm only going to comment on things that I have direct experience of, otherwise I'd be a fraud. So I'm going to talk about a couple of different aspects of assessment days that I actually have direct experience of. Assessment days are all different depending on the firm, and you'll be asked to do different tasks depending on what that firm is looking for, and I can't comment on all of those things. So I'm just going to go through a couple of things which I have direct experience of. But before we launch into the actual structure of the assessment days, there are 2 fundamental concepts which I think you need to bear in mind at all times during the course of the assessment day. The first one is that you are being assessed at all times. Make no mistake that from the minute you walk in the door and you're waiting at reception, those receptionists are watching you, and they will be asked for their feedback on how you acted, whether you were nice to them, how you were in the period before you were actually assessed. So as soon as you walk in that door, bear in mind that you are being assessed, and all throughout the day, even when the recruiters leave the room or you're not directly participating in an exercise, you are being assessed for how you are generally. So act professional at all times, be nice to everybody, and don't forget to maintain your professionalism. The second key thing is this is not a competition with other people. I know it's really tempting to feel like the minute you walk in the room, you want to look around and look at everybody else and see what your competition is, see who you think's the best and who you think are your biggest rivals on the day. But these are just demons in your mind which serve no other purpose other than making you feel rubbish about yourself, which is not what you want. Honestly, when I went to my assessment day, the people who I thought were going to get through, none of them got through. None of the people who I thought were the strongest in my group actually got ultimately picked. So you have no idea, even though it's tempting to look at the girl sat opposite you and think, oh, she looks really great in her resuit and she smiles like Julia Roberts, so obviously she's going to get it and I'm not. You have no idea what she's really like. Maybe she's got no communication skills. Maybe she's going to name drop the wrong firm in her interview. You just have no idea. So this is massive. This is a massive waste of time thinking about what your competition is or how anybody else is going to perform on the day. This is about you. You have as much right to be there as anybody else. You've made it through the application stage. It no longer matters that your A-levels aren't as strong or that you haven't got as much work experience as somebody else. They've seen your application, they put you through to the next stage anyway. So none of that matters anymore. You now have as much right to be there as everybody else, and it's all about showcasing yourself to the best of your abilities. You don't have to beat everybody else. Each firm will have its own criteria for who they want to put forward for the training contract, and as long as you meet that criteria, you will get the training contract. It doesn't matter what anybody else does. So even though it's tempting, try and put out of your mind that it's a competition. It's not. It's just about being the best version of you that you can be. Okay, now that's out of the way, I'm going to move on to 2 sections of assessment days which I have experience of. There will normally be an interview as part of your assessment day as well, but I'm not going to talk about that because I'm going to do a whole separate video on interviews in a couple of weeks. So the 2 sections that I'm going to focus on today are group exercises and instruction taking exercises. So group exercises first of all. So this is about showcasing your ability as a team player and your ability to work with others. It's not about who shouts the loudest and who has the best ideas. It's about who can work well in a team. And think about the people who are assessing you. Make yourself employable, make them want to work with you, make yourself fun and engaging and interesting, and think, we really want to hire this person because we want to work with them. It's not about shouting over everybody else and being the most dominant and having all the ideas and putting everything forward above everything else. It's about showing that you're a good team member and you can support others more than anything. So decide a role for yourself early on. Are you going to be the leader? It's always good to show good leadership skills, but not at the expense of the rest of your team. So if you have good leadership skills, this is a great opportunity to demonstrate that, but make sure that you demonstrate it in a supportive way, that you're a leader of a team. This is not a one-man band. So it's really important to involve as many people in the group as you possibly can with your ideas. So even when you are putting forward ideas, ask the group what they think about that idea. Do they have any suggestions as to how they could make it better? So you're involving the whole team. If you think you're not a leader, but you do have some great ideas, then make yourself a secondary. So if somebody suggests something, then you can say, that is a really great idea. Perhaps we could develop that and do this with it as well. And then you are still suggesting ideas, but you are not being the dominant person in the group. If you think that maybe your strengths are not so much in putting forward the ideas, but perhaps managing the group, then there are a number of other roles that you can assume. Timekeeper is a really important one. You will have a set period of time within which you have to come up with an idea, usually for a business proposal or an event or some kind of problem that you're solving, but you will have a fixed period of time within which to do that. So it's a really good idea to keep aware of the time and say to people every so often, okay, this is great, we've been talking about this for a while, but we have only actually got 10 minutes left, so perhaps we should move on to this now. And that's a really useful role. Or perhaps you could be accountant. If you're good with figures, you will normally have a budget set for the event or theme that you're trying to organise. So it's really important that somebody is keeping an eye on the figures here if you do have a budget. So you can listen to what other people are doing, you can be doing some calculations and say, oh, you know what, these are really great ideas, but actually I'm a bit concerned that this one's going to push us over budget. So perhaps we should look at other options. Great. Also great. So there are so many roles that you can assume, but make sure you try and involve as many people as possible and always emphasize a supportive role that you are playing, because it's all about making everybody else feel good about themselves as well and showing that you are a real team player. No law firm is a one-man band. It's all about working in teams. So if you can show that you're really supporting all the members of your team, then that is a really good skill to show. Another important thing to remember in group exercises is it's actually not about the end result. It's about how you get there and how you work towards that goal. So don't worry frantically about nailing down the specific idea and having all the budget in place and all the figures and everything like that and this precise idea, because actually it's all about how you get there. So think about making innovative suggestions, think about wider aspects as well. So think about your commercial awareness that you have. Think about overheads and how you're going to make this profitable if it's an event as well, and how you're going to showcase all the different skills you have as a firm. Whatever the situation is that you're given, try and maximise your knowledge of the business as well. So if you can bring something in and say, oh, okay, maybe we could involve one of our charity links in this event as well and show that you know what charities the firm is involved with. Or if you know that they have a specific initiative which the firm are pushing at the moment, say, oh, how can we bring this initiative into this as well? So show that you are thinking about the firm and you're thinking about commercial sense as well as just the specific issue that you are addressing. This is also a really good opportunity to showcase your personality, because prior to this, all the firm has seen is your application form, which can sometimes be difficult to showcase your actual personality. So this is a really good way of showing that you are a gregarious, outgoing person, you have great interpersonal and communication skills. So try and make it a bit fun as well. Maintain your professionalism at all times, never stray into swearing or making fun of people or anything like that. You are being assessed in a professional capacity. But have a bit of fun with it as well. Make it enjoyable, make people want to work with you. And this is such a great opportunity to do that. So that's about all for group exercise. I'm going to move on to an instruction taking exercise now. Now, most firms will have something similar to this. It may not be in the format of an instruction taking exercise. It may be a situation where you're given a problem and you're asked to find a way of solving that problem. And that may either be by means of you being given something on paper that you have to review and then either feedback orally or in written form to the people who are assessing you. Or it may be a situation where one of the assessors reads something out to you and then you have to process it and feedback on it. Or it could be something like a tape recording, which you then have to process and feedback on. So this could take any form, really. But one of the key things that you need to remember is to record all the information, particularly if it's not an example where you have everything written down. If you have to listen to something and then process it, write absolutely everything down that you hear first of all. Don't try and analyse it as you go along, because you'll find that you miss really important bits of information. So just write down everything that you hear in the first instance. You will then normally be given an opportunity to have 5 or 10 minutes to pick it apart, process it and put something together. So just write for however long you need to in order to get all the information down, and then spend some time analysing it. Okay, so now on to the analysis part. normally you'll be given some kind of problem, and it may be quite obvious what the problem is. So it may be you think straight away, okay, this is a commercial issue, they're having some kind of commercial dispute with somebody which needs resolution, so that's going to be for our commercial litigation team. But there will often be lots of different bits of information in there, so it won't just be one issue. There will be options to refer to other parts of the business, for example. So if the first line is, I was on my way to work because I was late for work because I had an argument with my boss, and then I tripped over a paving stone and I broke my leg. Your brain is immediately going to go, okay, so this is about a personal injury claim here. But actually, you've missed the first sentence, which is the fact they had an argument with their boss. Maybe there's a potential employment claim there. You don't know, it might be a red herring, but these are things that a good lawyer would be thinking about all the time to think, okay, well, let's explore that argument with their boss to check there's no discrimination there or unfair dismissal. Just, it may well be a red herring, but that's something that you should raise, because you should always explore that with the client to see if there's a potential cross-referral to another area of the business. So this is why I say write everything down, because there are hardly ever throwaway lines in these bits of information that you're given either by text or orally. So that's why I say write absolutely everything down and then really think about it later to see if there are any potential other avenues where you could maximise your knowledge. And pick up as many things as you can. So write everything down, circle things, get a highlighter or a pen and circle everything and think, why is this bit of information in there? Why are they leading me towards this? What can I pick out of this? And it's okay if it turns out not to be relevant. All you have to say is that I've recognised that this could potentially be an issue with this, and maybe we need to seek some other advice about this. What's great about working for a big firm sometimes is that when you retain a client in one aspect, you can refer them to other aspects of the business and triple your revenue from that client. So it's always really important to be thinking about how many areas you can refer one client to, because that maximises the amount of business that you potentially obtain from that client. And that's what a business sense is. That's what a leader would do. That's what a great trainee or a great lawyer would do. They'd be thinking about all these things, not just the obvious problem in front of them. Also think about what further information you might need from that client when you call them back or when you explore it further. So if they've given you a little bit of information about something, but you don't quite have enough information to make an assessment about that claim or how you would take it forward, make a list of questions that you need to ask the client to get more information about, and think about why you need that information. Think as well about what potential difficulties there are. You know, is the client under 18, for example, and you might need to get a litigation friend to bring their claim on their behalf. There are just so many little things to think about, and when you're putting your answer together or whatever it is that you have to feed back on, think about having some sort of logical order. Present it as if you understand what the problem is and you understand there may be a few other different issues where you could cross-refer to other areas of the business, and then say, I understand this, but this and this aren't quite clear, so I need to ask the client for this information. And then say what you would do in terms of next steps. So would you refer the client to, would you call them back first? Would you refer them to another area of the business? How would you go about dealing with this issue in the next few stages? And if there's anything in there which relates to something that you know about the firm, for example, if this is a type of claim and you know the firm are handling other claims that are very similar, think, oh okay, I know we're already dealing with claims that are very similar to this, so perhaps we could refer it to the same team that are dealing with those, or perhaps we could do a press release about it, or something like that. So these are showing real initiative and real things that would genuinely help the business to move forward. I can't give you any more specific information than that, because all the different problem solving exercises will be different and you will be asked to do different things, but keep your horizons broad in terms of don't just pigeonhole yourself into what you think is the obvious problem that you're asked to solve here. Does that make sense? Think about lots of different aspects that could be helpful to the business. Okay, so that is all I'm going to say. I think this is quite, it feels like a long video, this one. I don't know how long it is yet, but I'm really sorry that I've gone overboard a little bit. And that's why I decided to do interviews in a whole separate video, because otherwise this would have gone on forever. But I hope you have found this video helpful. I will link a couple of articles as well in the description, as I usually do, that will hopefully provide a little bit more information on this. But if you are watching this video and you're going forward to an assessment centre, give yourselves a massive pat on the back. This is an amazing achievement. Getting through the paper stage is by far the most difficult part. So if you've got through that stage, think that you have just as much right to be there as everybody else, and you are just as likely to succeed and get the training contract as anybody else. So go in there with confidence. You own this, you have done so well, and now is your chance to basically bring your application to life and showcase your personality, which should be the best bit about you. So this is a great opportunity. It's not a scary exam, it's an opportunity to shine. So I really wish you all the best of luck with it, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks with another video about interviews. See you in my next video, guys.